Hello and welcome to the Cameo Show. I'm your host, Cameo, and we are joined today by my husband and co-host, Mr. Greg Braun.
Yes, Mr. Fun Guy.
Yeah, he's really on my last nerve today, if I'm being honest.
That's how we're kicking off the new year.
That is exactly how we're kicking off the new year. More real, more raw, more honest, more authentic. You asked for it.
Yep.
You asked for it.
Yep.
So I'm bringing it.
Okay.
And I'm just honest.
Yeah.
You're making me crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know what really moves me and really makes my day is the earth.
I have no idea what in the hell that was. Would you like to explain yourself?
It's a dad joke that I just butchered, but let's keep moving on here.
Dear Lord, help us. Maybe you're joining us for the first time. Maybe someone forwarded you this episode. Maybe you've been with us for a long time. Either way, we are extremely excited to have you with us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, really, genuinely. I might be feeling a little fired up and feisty today, but seriously, all of that energy is directed at him.
Are you just hungry?
I'm probably hungry.
You haven't eaten anything all day. There we go. Oh.
And I'm extra mad that you know me that well to
Yes.
know that I'm just hungry. But I am so mad I'm cracking my fingers.
Yep. It's been a life hack for me to realize when you're really mad at me or when you're just hungry. So we can fix this. We can just eat some food.
It's that I'm hungry, but I think it's the former, that I'm actually really mad at you. Maybe it's both.
Well, and rightfully so, because we're coming out of the most stressful, intense, sugar-fueled time of the year.
Yeah, it's like a holiday hangover around here. It's like I'm not sure if I can get up and start moving forward or if I need to lay on the couch longer. And I know that I'm not alone. I know that there are so many people who feel in limbo from basically like trick or treat all the way through the first couple weeks of the new year.
Totally.
Overwhelmed, overindulged,
Yep.
underslept, pressure, expectations, all these things pile on us. We don't process any of them because we're so worried about making sure we don't miss anything that then you hit the new year and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be ready with all of these resolutions and goals and I'm going to make this the best year ever. And then you're still like, but shit, I am like emotionally exhausted.
Yep.
And I need a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like I still need a minute. And that's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
I feel ready and eager to move forward. And I don't mean to sound like a Scrooge, but like I'm over it. Like most people, I love the Christmas lights and the cookies and the festivities and all the fun. But I'm like, I just crave routine.
Yeah.
It's not bah humbug or like negative Nancy coming into the new year. I'm excited. I just need a minute.
Yeah.
I saw this stat that said that 62% of people feel stressed and frustrated during the holiday season. So I know I'm not alone. And if you're listening and you feel that way, you're not alone. And I don't know if you're one of those 62%ers, Greg, but like 62% is an astounding statistic. And I just don't know why we keep putting ourselves through it every year.
I feel like it gets more and more intense too. Each season, it's like that we're like the pressure to buy and consume, and like it's just more and more and more, you know. And this year, I was very aware of it. I saw a reel where like the story of Coca-Cola advertising marketing team kind of came up with Santa Claus and like how it was like really kind of created, you know, commercially created, which we all know. I mean, it's really intense. I mean, it's out of control. The pressure. We went to Target before Christmas and everybody in the store had the same like zombie look on their face. Like, I don't know what to get. And everything is like $50 plus, you know, every toy or, you know.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah. And it's just,
It's not like we don't know it's coming. It's the same time of year, the same day of every year. And somehow still, just like 2 weeks before, I find myself going, oh shit, I better get started.
Yeah.
And then feeling guilt and shame that I'm like the worst gift giver on the planet.
Yeah.
And again, another Scrooge moment. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to give gifts because I feel connected to people and because I feel like this is something that would really make someone happy that I love or I thought of them in this moment.
Yeah.
I don't
Throughout the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't want to do it all at the end of the year because
Yeah.
I've been conditioned to believe that that's
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
And
I've got to buy all these gifts for all these people. And it's like, why?
well, right. And like some of them it makes sense and some of them it doesn't. And often it just becomes, in our case, no offense to our family, we love you, but like it's just a money exchange. And
Yeah.
like then there's like guilt that comes along with like, oh, that wasn't very meaningful, but I'd feel terrible if I didn't send anything. And I hate it.
Yeah.
That's not what this episode is about. This episode is not supposed to be bringing you so much heat and negative energy to start your year. So we're going to switch gears. But it's just kind of a little bit of a vent session coming out of the holidays because that's what this episode is about, is kind of why it's so hard to get back into the normal swing of things.
Yeah.
We just described it all in our vent session. It's this building pressure
Yeah.
that just, as soon as the new year happens, the top pops off and it's just an explosion of like,
Jiffy Pop everywhere.
what the hell just happened?
Yep.
And that's exactly where I am.
Giving yourself the grace through this period of time, because it is traumatic and it is heavy and it's a lot.
Isn't that horrible that you're like, it's traumatic and we're talking about Christmas,
Yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah. But it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot, and everyone's going through it in different levels. And so giving yourself the grace and the compassion and love that you deserve. Like if you want to start the year and you want to eat healthier, if you want to work out, if you want to, start that new business that you've always dreamed of, or start a new hobby, it's going to take time to build that repetition and muscle memory around this new habit. So be good to yourself. If you're eating, if you're going to eat clean in 2025, if you fall off the wagon one time and you just can't handle it, you eat a big bowl of ice cream, just look at it. Every day is a new day, a new start. And as long as you're winning the week, I think that's the goal. And like give yourself a couple cheat meals, or if you miss the gym a couple days, like give yourself the space to build that habit. And really the whole month of January is just kind of getting the habit set again.
Yeah.
And coming into the new year, having your garage clean and go through your clothes and get rid of clothes you don't need, like really kind of clean your area and your life and reorganize your desk, and so you're fresh into the new year. I think that's important too.
Yeah, I think ideally we would do that at the end of the year, right? So that we can hit the ground running on day one, January 1st. Here we are. Let's do this. But the reality is there's so much going on in those last couple of weeks. And that's not just like, with food and sugar and overindulging in things that you wouldn't normally have, or being off of your activity routine. That's also emotionally. Like you're engaging in relationships and planning and traveling to see family that you don't normally, maybe, or, taking time off work or having deadlines at the end of the year that you have to meet that are highly stressful. I think about people who are like having the holiday season for the first time without a parent or without a loved one, or these are really, again, traumatic periods of time that we don't process.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of space to like plan and prepare to hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. And so then there's this whole new level of stress and pressure of like being ready that is just like we're doing it to ourselves. And so I think there's another stat that says that usually it takes people about 2 weeks into the new year to get into or back into their routine to be able to start actually moving forward and feel somewhat normal again. And I feel that. I mean, I feel like that's realistic because after today, after the first of the year, there's still a few days that lag because the kids aren't back in school.
Yeah.
If you have kids at home, you're still kind of like, what do I do? I'm not sure how do I get back to work in a normal routine? You're kind of still giving yourself those outs and the excuses of like, well, it's still the holidays. I still have sugar laying on the counter, or I'll do it after next week when things get it's a lot and we do it to ourselves. So you're right. Be good to yourself. I need to calm down. Maybe I need a sedative or something. To like,
You just need to eat.
Maybe I need some food.
But another thing is money. I mean, you go all year and you have your budget and you live your life and everything. And then all of a sudden, these last couple months of the year, you're spending more money than you usually would with the travel and with the extra food and
it's exhausting.
and presents for, and you're just like, oh my God. So getting your financial health back together. Overall, it's best to bite the bullet and get everything reset in January, but give yourself some grace to know that you might fall off the horse a few times, because it's not an easy thing to do all the right things right out of the gate if you've been, dealing with the holidays and
Yeah, it's
the
really
holiday
overwhelming.
hangover.
Holiday hangover. Well, and I think that we're all in agreement that it's a nice fresh start. I think
Yeah.
everyone enjoys the idea
Yeah.
of, at least the idea of, resolutions
Yep.
or new routines or
Yep.
new goals or habits. And we're big
Yeah.
on that. And,
Big.
that's for another episode with regard to goals. And, we have some things to speak to on that. But like, when it becomes a hindrance because you expect that it's all going to happen all of a sudden, you're just setting yourself up for failure because you're overwhelmed and
Yeah.
you can't begin anywhere because it's like paralyzing. It's
Yep.
too much pressure.
Yep.
So I'm all for the reset. And I think there are several ways that you can do that. One is be patient with yourself. Two, it's like, for me anyway, I work better if I kind of slowly ease back into things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very all or nothing person, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to like getting back into my normal routine or starting to analyze or reflect on like where last year went and how I want this new year to go, I've got to like take small steps.
Yeah.
Or even if I don't try to do it all at once and get overwhelmed, I just still get overwhelmed if it's like feels like too much. Like, if I want to just start eating clean, it makes more sense to me to start slowly and be like, I just need to focus on like something more specific. Like, I am going to try to make sure I drink the right amount of water because I definitely haven't been doing that over the holiday season. So I'm going to start there.
And
then
you
I
even
can
have a Stanley.
Yes, I have a Stanley that was passed down to me from my beautiful teenage daughter. I have been resistant to a Stanley. For some reason, I get a chip on my shoulder about things like Stanleys and Lululemon. I'm just being honest and raw. But like, I accepted this pass down of a Stanley.
And it's changed your life.
It has. It's not necessarily the Stanley, but it's
The straw.
it's the straw. I drink a lot more water when I drink out of a straw. But also, like, I just go fill it up way more often because it's there. And, like, I don't put other drinks in it because I don't want to have to clean it so I can put water in it. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I digress. But the Stanley has helped.
Yeah.
But it gives me momentum.
Yeah.
To say, okay, I'm going to start small today and just make sure that I focus on one thing that's going to move the needle.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good. And then I have momentum to move on to the next thing and start implementing things in that way. Because just like everybody else, if you set these big goals and then you fall off one day, then everything's ruined for the rest of the year. And I just think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, why do we do that to ourselves?
I quit smoking. And I quit smoking a lot of times before I quit smoking.
Yeah.
So, I can speak to that. It's not easy to quit something like smoking or sugar or bad habits or being
a people pleaser,
lazy, like it takes work and focus and effort, and you can't do it all at the same time. But
yes, I think it's about developing habits, and habits don't just become something that you do until you practice.
Yep.
And there's stats out there that would support a million different ideas. I read one the other day that said it takes 200 days to develop a habit. Maybe it was 200 hours. But then I've heard, well, it takes 21 days to develop a habit. It doesn't matter because each person is going to be individual in what works for them and what doesn't. And I think before you're able to decide if a habit is like ingrained in you, you have to practice and you have to fail and you have to jump back in and you have to decide what's important to you to make it be a habit anyway. Like, you can tell me to eat clean, but if I don't know why I'm doing it and it means nothing to me, I'm not able to tie it to something meaningful to me, then it won't matter. It won't become a habit because I don't care enough. But I want to eat clean because my why is that I want to live as long as possible and be as healthy as possible while I'm alive. And I want to be able to do the activities that I want to be able to do. And I want to be able to be a good example for my kids. Like, those are strong whys for me that aid in developing that habit or getting back into that habit that when I fall off, I can reconnect to.
Mm-hmm.
But just saying I want to make this a habit and it being a baseless thing is not really a good driver toward success.
What's the book about habit? Is it The Habit Loop?
There's a lot of books about habits
Yeah.
and ways to set yourself up for success in developing good habits.
Oh, the ultimate book is, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That is like in the top 5 all-time change your life books.
Personal development books. And it's not really
Yes.
about understanding what a habit is or how to develop it. It's about understanding that these 7 habits are tied to people who have high levels of success.
Yeah.
And if you can start implementing those and making them a priority and tie them to you and why it's meaningful to you, it will change your life.
Yeah. While we're talking about habits and things
Yeah.
like that, I thought that's a good
That's a great
kickoff book.
recommendation
Yeah.
for sure. Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
There are plenty of books that will tell you how to make a habit, how long
Yeah.
it takes to form a habit, what good habits are and bad habits are. Habits are just things that we do over and over and over and over and over again. Some of them are good and some of them are bad, but it just depends on what the end result that you're after is to actually categorize them as good or bad. So keeping that in mind is also important so that you don't get into a negative headspace about whether or not you're accomplishing what you want to accomplish, or why can't I get into this habit routine?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not right for you.
Yeah.
Maybe just because somebody on social media talked about how it worked for them, or your sister-in-law said this works for me, this will help you develop that habit. Maybe it isn't the right habit for you to have.
We're all so different and complex, and
so reassessing kind of your priorities, especially at this time of year, while you're in that hangover period, reflecting in a way that's like, okay, what do I want to bring with me going forward?
and what do I want to leave?
And what do I want to leave
Yes.
as I process through this muck of whatever I've just been through during the holiday season?
Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah. Is
Coming into 2025 light.
Yeah.
Light.
Well, I'm not coming into 2020. 2025 light. I'm coming in hot and heavy and
Coming
fast.
in hot and hungry.
I need to eat and I need to take a nap. I need to get my shit together. And I'm ready to.
yeah.
And I'm ready to.
Good. Also, mindset. This is so important. Like the mindset that you had in 2024 got you the results that you received in 2024. So think about your year and think about what the new results that you want to achieve and where your mindset's going to have to be, because that's the thing that's going to have to change.
Yeah, it's kind of like I have all these ideas once I process through all of this and I'm ready. Who's going to have to show up to make that happen?
Yeah.
You know, who is going to have to show up to put those habits in play? It's going to have to be the person that says, this is important to me, not the person who says, well, right now it's not. I feel like laying on the couch.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Different programming.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do the opposite of what you want in order to stay connected to what you desire.
Yeah.
And that's difficult.
Yeah.
But all things to think about for sure. If you're like me and you're like, what in the hell is happening? Hot and heavy.
Yep. And I'm wore out from watching you hot and heavy through the whole holiday season. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know how she does that. There's 20 sticks with plates and you just haven't dropped one. You didn't drop one the whole time. And I'm just like,
I just swept them up before anybody saw that they had fallen and broken. But
we even had our dryer was broken. We didn't have a new dryer for a whole month during the holiday season.
God.
And there was, I don't even know if we've talked about this.
No.
Okay. Just a true test of where you're at on your composure and keeping your shit together scale.
Maybe where I was. I wouldn't say I'm showing up there
but
today.
Literally a whole month went by and the laundry's kind of your baby in our family. So you just literally, there were clothes kind of draped everywhere to dry, but you didn't complain or bitch about it or make, Not one negative thing came out of your mouth the whole month that we didn't have a dryer. And I ordered the wrong dryer. That's why it took so long, because we had to have the dryer come back and get it and bring the right one. So that was totally my bad. Totally my fault. You didn't make me feel bad about that.
You were madder about it than I was.
I was disappointed in myself.
But no wonder I'm exhausted.
But yeah, so in the midst of normal holiday stuff, then you also, all our family's laundry was, draped all over the tables and the counter. I mean, and like a dryer really does make clothes soft.
Yeah,
so we
were
like,
living in some crunchy ass clothes for a while.
We had the stiffest clothes in the
Yeah, it was awful.
But so, I mean, you've been through the rigors, and it's been a tough holiday season, and it's,
Well, and that's just our story, but I know that so many people feel the same way. Like, so many people out there have felt overwhelmed and feel this hangover from the holidays and really want to start off on the right foot. And here we are and still feel dazed and confused.
Yep.
And exhausted. And if you do, it's okay. For the love of God, don't fall into the trap of society telling you that you have to be or do anything other than what you are right now. And if you don't start your New Year's goals or resolutions until February, it ain't nobody's business.
Yep.
So if you're exhausted, get caught up, process through, give yourself the time, the space, the grace to recalibrate, reset, and be ready to take on 2025. It'll be here for you. Just don't wait till like October. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be here a couple weeks later, and you don't have to carry around guilt and shame for not being like on it right now.
This is your journey.
That's right.
It's not your coworker's journey or
your parents or your siblings or even your dog, even though our dog might think it is his journey and we're just a part of it.
Yeah.
But we're going to get through it. We're going to have an awesome year, actually. I feel so much lighter. Thank you for letting me rage a little bit. Welcome to 2025. Thank you for joining Greg and I on the Cameo show. We really are excited and happy, enthusiastic people. I am exhausted. And if you're not exhausted from listening to this episode, we do hope that you will join us again for the next one. We've got a big year in store and we're really pumped to have you. So
thanks for listening.
Until next time.